Hi there, my name is Vic Veer. I'm an ENT consultant surgeon working for the NHS in central London. And in this video, I'm going to do something slightly different to some of my other videos. I apologise for my regular viewers. This isn't going to be about ears or snoring and sleep apnea. Today, it's going to be about salivary gland stones. Because one of my patients who I spoke to earlier in the week said, that's really funny and interesting information just given me here. Why don't you make it into a video? So I said I would. So just so that you know what I'm talking about, salivary gland stones. So salivary glands are these glands that are about here and underneath your chin and jaw here. And what they do is they make saliva. So when you eat something like some bread or something, the saliva from these glands gets squeezed out, it goes into your mouth, and then it allows you to lubricate that bread so you can swallow it without it scratching the back of your throat. What can happen sometimes is that a stone can get stuck, not in the gland itself normally, but in the duct that leads from it. So if there's a gland here, there's a duct that comes up here and comes into your mouth. That duct can get blocked with a stone. And what ends up happening is that the saliva can't get out, so it ends up filling up like this and cause quite a lot of pain. And so you'll notice this pain every time you eat something, particularly things like oranges and citrus fruits, things like that. But what's worse is that if you have a blockage for a long time and there's fluid sitting there for a long time, eventually fluid sitting anywhere in the body gets infected. So if you've got glue ear, sinuses or gallbladder or even your real bladder, if you leave fluid long enough in the body, it will get infected. Same with a salivary gland. If it's full of saliva because there's a blockage in the hose pipe, the pipe that leads from it, the duct, then it's going to get infected. What you'll end up having is not only just a big sort of swelling just here, you'll get an infected swelling. It'll go bright red, it will cause lots of pain, and you'll need to have an operation. And sometimes these operations damage the nerves in your neck and cause you to look like your face is dry. All sorts of problems occur. What I'm suggesting in this video is to tell you some of the things you can do before it gets that bad. What I'm not suggesting, however, is to not go and see a doctor. Just say, oh, I saw this guy on YouTube, he tells me just to do this, I don't need to see anyone. If you've got a problem with a lump in the neck or perhaps even what you think is a salivary gland stone, you mustn't sit on it, go and see your doctor straight away. It's really important because these techniques won't solve all the problems, and it may not be a salivary gland stone, a lump in your neck, it could be something else. So get yourself checked out. So tip number one is understanding why we get these stones and trying to prevent them in the first place. Because these stones are normally caused by dehydration, meaning you don't have enough water on board. Now in this country, it's always raining and it's always pretty cold and we've got plenty of water. But a lot of people from this country go to places like Egypt where it's much drier and it's much, much hotter, and they don't drink enough water. And when you don't drink enough water, what ends up happening is that the saliva that's been made by these salivary glands does not come out in a sort of jet of like water. It comes out more sludgy, more thick and gloopy. And when that happens, particularly to a certain degree, you get little stones or crystals forming in that sort of gloop, and that starts blocking the duct that goes from your gland to the inside of your mouth, that pipe that goes from towards your mouth. If that happens, then it all starts backing up, like I said before, and you get that swelling. So do drink lots of water. It's really, really important, because what you want to do is try and avoid that sort of sludgy saliva that comes out that causes this problem. It tends to happen to people who've gone on a hot holiday or a beach type holiday. Tip two is to try and avoid yourself from being dehydrated again, but this time not taking things that make you dehydrated. So a lot of people think a cup of tea is a glass of water. It really isn't a glass of water. You're losing water by drinking a cup of tea. You need to make sure that anything with caffeine in it or alcohol in it, you have to understand that that's sort of minus glasses of water. So if you have a cup of tea, drink water on top to rehydrate yourself after drinking it. These things make you wee, and therefore it's not real rehydration. You're dehydrating yourself by drinking these things. So now that we've got prevention out of the way, let's go into tip number three. Tip number three is when you actually have a stone. And what I want you to do is go out and buy yourself some Opal Fruits. Now you may remember Opal Fruits, I certainly do. And I think now they're called Starburst, but I just refuse to call them Starburst. Opal Fruits are sort of this citrusy, sort of gummy type sweetie that if you remember the old advert in the past, it was made to make your mouth water. That jingle is that every time you have these sort of citrusy type fruits, the salivary glands, when they notice this taste, they really squeeze down a lot. And that's useful. You think, oh my God, I don't want to cause enormous pain because every time I eat it hurts. what you're trying to do is rehydrating yourself as much as possible so that the saliva back there is full of water now. It's really sort of sloshy. Once you've completely rehydrated, drunk loads and loads of water and your wee is coming out very, very clear, then you have an opal fruit. And what you're trying to do is using that water in your salivary glands to push that stone out through the ducts, it comes out, and then all this sort of horrible sort of gloopy stuff comes out, and sometimes it's infected and tastes horrible. So you're using the opal fruit to squeeze those salivary glands. I think I'm tip number 4 now. Tip number 4 is when you've rehydrated yourself, when you've taken the opal fruits or starburst and it's sort of hurting and you're trying to squeeze that stone out, try some forward massage like this. You're putting extra pressure on the saliva to push that stone out. So do that to try and get that and push that stone through the duct so it pops out and you get that horrible taste. We're on to 5 now, I think. Now, this I don't think you should do without a doctor. What you can do is this gland here called the submandibular gland is the one that seems to get these stones more often because it's quite low down and the duct goes up, so it's working against gravity. It's quite a long duct as well. And it opens up just in front of your tongue, just on either side of that little frenulum in the middle. And sometimes if you feel along that duct, you can feel a little stone. And if you're very brave, normally it's the doctor who does this, you can edge it forward with your nail and just push it out. It has to really be right at the end for you to do that. But if you can pick it out, suddenly everything just starts feeling better. Again, don't do this without a doctor. It's really, you can get yourself into terrible sort of injuries and problems with your duct, and then you'll have to have a big operation to get that working again. Points 7, 8, 9, whatever, are operations or lithotripsy where you use ultrasound to break up the stones, all these little things that can open up these ducts, but they need a doctor. So that's why you should go and see a doctor if you have this problem. Most importantly, try and prevent it from happening in the first place. And hopefully I may have helped someone out there. So anyway, thank you very much for watching this. Take care. Bye-bye.